Welcome back to Sister Circle Live with standout roles like James Evans in Good Times and Mr. McDowell in Coming to America. This Hollywood staple has entertained us for almost 50 years.
And his journey continues with a new animated children's series and much more. Please welcome the legendary John Amos. Hi. Really trying not to fan out, sir. But how are you?
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be in your presence.
Yeah.
It really
you, ma'am.
is.
Thank you.
Where does this Colorado State vintage outfit come from?
Well, I just recently relocated to Colorado State where I went to school, and I just thought it'd be my way of showing a little affection for my alma mater.
I love it. I love it. It looks great. It looks great on you. So you've been in the business for over 50 years.
Yeah.
What has sustained you?
The need for money. No, I've just enjoyed my life, and I've enjoyed my career, so each year I seem to find something else that inspires me to keep going.
Yeah.
And the latest thing now is this children's book, A World Without Color, and it's doing very well, and it's something I always aspired to do. I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was in high school, and so far so good. I finally made it as a cartoonist after all these years.
It's okay. It's never too late.
I don't know that's
never too late.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Amos, now you are known for many roles, but it is Black History Month. And one of your most poignant roles was Kunta Kinte, the older Kunta Kinte. So in 2016, they recreated it. And you have been documented saying that you were kind of uncertain about how it was going to turn out. After seeing it, how do you feel now? Do you think that they did it justice?
Well, it was kind of hard to replicate something that's been done so well, and it became an iconic TV show. I'd be reluctant, if I were the producer, I'd be reluctant to try it again. I don't know how you improve on perfection. And not that Roots was perfect, but we were pretty close to it, the original broadcast. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, you know?
Yeah.
It's been done. If you could do it better, power to you, but it's highly unlikely.
Right. Well, no one did fatherhood like you did as James Evans in Good Times. And because you were such a hard worker and stern Black man that we were all able to see, do you think that has been duplicated, or has anyone ever been able to do it like you do it? And that's not being pompous or egotistical, but have you seen that type of character since yours?
It's kind of hard for me to talk about the work that I've done as being superlative, you know, and comparing other actors with doing something comparable. There have been roles on TV that I wish I had gotten, and there have been roles that I'm glad I didn't get. I'm proud of the work we did on Good Times. I'm proud of the role that I portrayed as the father of the Evans family. I'd be hard pressed to compare any other actor's work with mine. Yeah.
You know, and that leads me to think, like, what is your take now on the Black sitcoms then as compared to now? Like, what do you think has been, I don't know, the progression or not?
Well, you must remember that we had, in Norman Lear, the producer of and the creator of Good Times, as well as several other outstanding series, we had someone who was innovative in his thinking, and he was just determined to bring the very best to television that he possibly could. I don't know if we'll see that kind of effort or creativity anymore. It's almost like, if it works, we'll do more of it. A replication and duplication seems to be the normal trend now.
Speaking of duplication, they're talking about this Coming to America revamp. Is this going to happen?
I hope it does, because if for no other reason, I'd love to work with Eddie Murphy again. I mean, that is a joy. It wasn't even like going to work. It was just like, I'm going to go have some more fun today, you know? And he is a superlative talent. So I'm hopeful that it does happen, that there is a Coming to America Part 2.
If you could think of one of the roles that you've played throughout the course of your life, what truly resonates with who you are as a man?
I would say the role of Kunta Kinte in Roots. Also Admiral Percy Fitzwallace in The West Wing. I mean, these were men that had tremendous responsibilities and handled it well. It was very well written. that was the thing. I came along at the right time. I got some choice material. I mean, great writing. And it's my feeling that the best writers in television have done their work already. I don't see anything on television that really knocks me out in terms of the writing. And that's where it all starts. It starts with the scripts.
Okay, well, you know what? We have more with John Amos when we come back, so stick around.
Just a legend.
I know, it's great.
Okay, I did well the first segment. Great.
Well, we got two more.
I know.
So,
we are back with TV star, director, and author, the legendary John Amos. Now, earlier on in the interview, you talked about Nubbin and Friends. How did this animated series come about? Tell us all about it.
Well, I met a young man by the name of Charles West some years ago, and he gave me enough of a sample of what he'd hoped to do in the future to let me know that I wanted to be involved with him. And as things evolved and as time went by, Nubbin and Friends became a reality, and he asked me to come back on board and to be one of the voices, along with Loretta Devine and some other outstanding talent. And here we are. And from everything I've heard from Barnes & Noble, the book company that's distributing the book, they're excited because it's doing very well, and it's been extremely well received.
And speaking of Barnes & Noble, you have a book out called A World Without Color.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what is the premise of that book, and what do you want readers to take away?
The title is pretty much an indication as to what our hopes would be for the book, myself and the other writers involved and the creators of it, that children would begin to see a world without color, except for those instances where positive people introduce positive colors or emotions into their lives.
Oh, wow.
And that's basically, it's aimed for children, so it's a pretty simplistic premise, but it seems to work very well, and Barnes & Noble is very happy with the way the book sales are going.
Can I get a book, and then can I have you autograph the book?
Oh,
Right,
absolutely.
for both of our children.
Right.
Absolutely.
Why did you want to focus on children? Do you just believe that we have to start there?
Oh, we have to start
Absolutely.
there. We have to start there. I mean, they're the hope for the world. They're hope for all of our respective futures. So far, so good.
Yes. Is there anything you can't do, sir?
Yeah.
I haven't found it as yet.
Well, we definitely think so here down to the circle.
Yes, we do.
We're having so much fun with you. We're having an amazing time with John Amos. So be on the lookout for John's animated children's series, Nubbin and Friends. And you can pick up his book, A World Without Color, on Amazon.com.
And do not forget, this amazing conversation always continues on SisterCircleTV.com and at Sister Circle TV on all social media platforms.
Yes. Yay.
Thank you, ladies. You made it easy.
Oh, good.
Even easier.
I know it. I know it. Can you believe this? This is awesome. Come on, Black History Month.
We did that. Like,
Welcome back to Sister Circle Live. It is time for a full circle discussion where we like to spend a little extra time on a topic that is of great significance to us and hopefully you. Mr. Amos, of course, from the groundbreaking series Good Times, has stayed with us. He played an iconic father on television for decades, and we want to talk about the Black TV fathers from back in the day. What was their influence on us in our culture? And I guess I can begin. As James Evans, did you take it upon yourself to say, I am responsible for what or how Black fathers are portrayed on television?
Well, I was responsible to the degree that I had some control over the character I was portraying. I had no responsibility for what other actors might do with their respective roles, but I knew that this was an opportunity to refute the stereotypes that had been perpetuated for years and years. Irresponsible fathers, they didn't care for their children, they didn't provide for their families. And I wanted to wipe some of that out one at a time with my portrayal of this character as well as any other character that I might have the opportunity to portray on TV or in movies.
When doing that part, did you know that you would have such an impact even years to come? Did you?
No, I don't think any of us really know when we're performing what the impact of our respective roles are going to be, you know, in time. But I had a very, very good feeling about the Good Times because of the producer, number one, Norman Lear. You got an iconic producer, you know, he's got his head on straight in regards to what he wants to see perpetuated on TV. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to work for Norm and with Norman Lear, as well as the other talented actors on Good Times. I've been blessed.
Yeah. Norman Lear was known for being a risk taker and just being very, at the time, some of the shows that he produced would have never, without him, have been produced.
Exactly.
We have our producer, Helen Swinson, is equally giving us a platform to talk about things that would not typically be discussed. What were your conversations like when you sat with him and discussed certain topics or issues that where you were dealing with at that time?
Well, I've always been a pretty hard-headed guy. And I had to make it clear to Norman and to the other writers that I would be the person who would best determine how James Evans would raise his family, because we had no other black writers on the staff, no other black producers in television at that time. And I said, well, I've lived it, so if we want to do it honestly and accurately, I don't want to take all the responsibility, but let me be the deciding judge as to how he raises his family and what kind of ground rules he lays down for the family.
Love that.
What do you think, John, about the lack of African-American males on television today as fathers?
I haven't really given it a tremendous amount of thought. I think it's dictated more by what the television powers that be feel is going to work. Right now they want adventure, they want fantasy, they want escapism, and a father doing what a father does is not bringing enough people to the TV audience, I guess they feel. So
Oh my goodness.
they're going for the buck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And with shows like Blackish, which is I feel like it's an excellent show. And
Yeah, I do
it's,
too. I love it.
I mean, I love the representation of the entire black family. Do you think that this is an appropriate representation or accurate representation of black fathers as opposed to when Good Times was on air? Like, do you think it's comparable or no?
Well, I've had the pleasure of working with Anthony Anderson, the star of Blackish, and Anthony's a pretty responsible actor in terms of what he feels his image is going to portray. So I'd be inclined to go along with Anthony and the rest of the cast in that they're not going to let any real objectionable material go by the boards. They're going to speak up.
Yes.
So I've been pretty well satisfied with the things they've been doing on that particular show, as well as a couple of others.
So then, do you think it's safe to say then that the actual actors do have some, well, not just power, but also responsibility in making sure that the content is true to us as a people, as African Americans, as a people, because I guess we could say writers, or the writers or what the writers did, but in listening to you, it seems as if, if we go, if the actors go in and be more forceful of what they want to portray, that would work.
Well, it's a fine line because you want to be clear as to what you would like to do with the role, but by the same token, you don't want to be so difficult to satisfy that the writers find it hard to write for you, or you make the writers uncomfortable. It's a team effort,
Right.
Yeah.
between the writers and the actors, and hopefully you've got a producer. Like I said, I've been extremely fortunate to work for Norman Lear, who was not only innovative, the things he did in terms of introducing situations to television that had not been seen before, but introducing characters to television. So it's a combination of many factors.
Yeah, yeah. And you speak so highly of Mr. Lear. Was there a time when you did leave Good Times that you were thinking, I'm not growing, my family's not moving out of this situation, and I don't want to be a part of something when I can't see the progression of my people?
Right.
That's very well put, and that's pretty much the way the situation was. I found myself with some scripts that I was extremely unhappy with, and that I, quite frankly, refused to do the way they were written. And it led to some pretty dramatic arguments.
Heated moments.
There was some heated moments. And me being from New Jersey, I have a low tolerance. It's funny, when you work with someone like Norman Lear, who's so secure in what it is he does, it makes you more secure. And as time went by, despite the fact that I was terminated, fired, killed off of Good Times, Norman Lear and I still worked together for several more projects,
Wow.
including 2 or 3 more series, a couple of pilots. And to this day, I still respect him as probably the changing force in television for generations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Way to stand your ground.
Yes.
What
right
would you
with
want
me.
to see more of on TV? If you could just be like, I want to see this more, what would that one thing be?
I'd like to see more children's shows that make them educated and make them responsible about the political process.
Yes. Well, that's good.
I think the sooner we can get our children involved in what is happening to them socially and let them have a voice in it, let the children determine, or the younger people determine what it is they'd like to see on TV, what's missing now, what's going to help them with their education. Those are the things that I think that are important.
Have you thought about writing, directing, producing? Have you thought about doing any of that?
Yeah, in fact, I did more than thought about it with my partner Charles West here, the creation of Nubbin and Friends, and some other ideas we have for TV series and children's programming in particular. You'll see that come to
fruition.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Gosh, this is a moment we will always remember. Mr. Amos, thank you so much for being
thank
here
you,
today. We
ladies. Thank
appreciate
you
your
for having
presence.
me.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for all that you have done.
Well,
Not only
thank
for
you.
African American people, but for our world.
Yes.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Make sure you send us your thoughts at Sister Circle TV on all of our social platforms. Coming up later, she stars as Rosa Parks in Behind the Movement. Maida Golding is here. But up next, first class travel tips on an economy budget. Davy Sutton is going to show us how.